What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Happy New Year. This is our first episode back from last year, y'all. Um, I'm excited and happy to be back. I hope everybody had a great week. I definitely did. Um, Again, we're back. Let's take a walk. Tonight we have an amazing guest, another amazing guest, as always. She's an educator. She's a woman of the people. She has an amazing program that I'm excited to sit down and chop it up with her about. She truly cares about her community and more specifically, our youth and their future. Um, I don't want to steal her thunder. For those of you who may not be familiar with Miss Cannon or Dr. Cannon, um, I'm going to give her a moment to kind of reintroduce herself and just give a little background on who she is and some of the things that she has going on. So, with that being said, Dr. Cannon, you have the floor.
Good evening. My name is Dr. Casheba Cannon. I am an educator, I am a tutor, and I have a heart for children. I have a school and I also have a tutoring business right here in Hampton Roads. We are located in Portsmouth, Virginia, but we service all of Hampton Roads, starting from ages 3 all the way up through adults.
That is amazing. So let's just dive right in.
Okay.
What in the world made you come up with this idea? Like, what was the thought process behind it?
Well, I'm originally from Syracuse, New York. I came here in 1994 and went to Norfolk State University, where I earned my bachelor's in education. But before I wanted to actually go into the classroom, I wanted to make sure that teaching was what I wanted to do. So I started tutoring, and I started tutoring on Norfolk State campus for a summer program. And that's when my love for children really developed. So once that summer program ended, I then became a teacher in a private school, a private Christian school. Then from there, my love continued to grow. But I also wanted to work one on one with children that were having deficits in certain subjects. So before I actually started teaching, I was a tutor for 5 years prior to me becoming a teacher.
Okay. So, hold on one second. Let me fix
Okay.
this. So, what you have ventured out to do, I definitely respect and take my hat off to, because everybody has so many different needs. Everybody, or
Yes.
or not just needs, but ways of learning. Some of us are
Yes.
hands on. Some of us can just naturally, they see it one time and then they do it. You
Hmm.
know, it's done a third. Um, do you feel like you've kind of like mastered the art of being a kind of like an educational like chameleon? Do you feel like you're able to function in most spaces and deal with people who have unique educational needs?
I do. I have a wide range of experience from working with special education to general education. So I pretty much have the best of both worlds. And so I always say that there's always room to grow. No matter what, no matter how long, there's always something else that you can learn to help build your craft even more. So, I'm pretty much whatever situation you put me in, I'm going to figure out a way to help that child or even help the family.
What does it mean to you? And this is a question that I probably would ask later on in the interview, but I'm going to ask you now. Like,
Okay.
what does it mean to you to be able to um assist be an asset in your community in this way? Like, what does it truly mean? What does it truly mean to be able to help people in that way? Like, what does it is it therapy for you? Like, do you go away feeling how do you go away feeling when you know that you've created this space and you've created this movement that allows you to touch and impact people children, people
Mm.
of all ages, all backgrounds. What does that do for you?
It's the most rewarding feeling ever. It really is to know that you have impacted not just a child, but a family,
Mhm.
because so many parents don't know what to do. Where do I start? Where do I go? So it's a rewarding feeling to be able to know that you have assisted a child, assisted a family that needs help. So every child that I come in contact with becomes one of mine. So it's a very rewarding feeling. Now, does it become overwhelming? Absolutely does. However, the best feeling is to work with a child that can't read, but by the time they finish with you, their confidence is up here. So that's what it's about, is to make sure that when that child walks out that door, they walk away feeling more confident in what they felt when they walked in.
Okay, that's amazing. And as I alluded to earlier, many of us have different educational needs, and we have different ways of learning and
Hmm.
catching on to things. Do you feel like, on the flip side of all that, do you feel like you've been in this long enough to have mastered the art of being able to um, deal with the ones that you couldn't help, if that makes sense? Like, are you have you been able to navigate your feelings as it pertains to the ones that you can't help? Do you still take it really hard, or like, how
Hmm.
do you navigate that?
It's a very hard thing for me because I put my all into it. But the one thing that I understand with what I do is, there are children that you're going to be able to help immediately, but then there's those you're going to have to really take that time, pour into them, and also take the time to pour into the family. So when a child does not get it, does it hurt? Absolutely. Because you want to make sure that every child that you come in contact with, you're assisting them in some way. So yes, you sometimes you do walk away feeling defeated, because you're like, well, could I have done something different? What didn't I do? So do you walk away feeling defeated at times? Absolutely. But that's more reason for me to keep pushing.
Absolutely. So what has the reception been like from the community? Do you feel like you've had to um fight in certain ways to get to where you are, or do you feel like the community has embraced you and allowed
Mhm.
you to be free in what you're trying to do?
I would have to say that Hampton Roads has definitely embraced me. I mean, over 25 years now.
Mm,
So they have definitely embraced me. They have supported me. And honestly, that is the best advertisement tool, is from parents, from parents of the children that you have worked with, that they have seen differences. So the community has definitely, definitely supported me throughout the years. Yes.
okay. If there was one thing that you could point out about yourself that you didn't know about yourself prior to going into this,
Hmm.
what would you say is one prominent thing that this whole process has brought out of you that maybe you didn't know you possessed when you went into it?
I would have to say resilience.
Mm, okay.
I would have to say resilience, and also very tough skin. Very
Why?
tough skin,
Why?
learning not to take everything literally or personally.
Okay.
So strength,
Okay. And
strength.
socially, what has it done for you? And what I mean by that is, like, doing this podcast, right? And
Hmm.
since I've started doing this podcast, I've noticed that I've been able to have conversations with people better. Like, my conversation
Hmm.
is better. I'm more like in tune and more focused, and I can, I'm
Yes.
more quick with it. From a personality slash social perspective, being the face of this organization, being the leader of this organization,
Hmm.
what what has it done for you socially? Do you feel, does it make you more, do you feel like you're more confident than you know what I'm saying? Do you feel more confident because of this, or like what are some things that you feel like it's brought out of you?
Definitely more confident,
Okay.
because you have to be able to, when a parent comes to meet with you, you have to be able to not sell yourself, but be able to speak of the services that you provide, how effective they've been throughout the years. You have to really be able to show this family that, hey, I can do what you need. So definitely more confident, much more sociable.
Hmm.
You have to be. You have to be able to talk. You have to be able to express, what you can do, how you do it. So
Hmm.
very, very much confidence, much more confident.
Okay. What do you say in like, I'm a kid that needs, some educational assistance,
Hmm.
and my parents bring me, what have you found to be the most common mistake um parents make when they bring their children to you um for assistance?
I would say not really knowing what their child needs. They're
Okay.
going off of what the teacher is telling them, but what do you see when you're working with them?
Okay.
And I always ask parents, so, yes, I want to know what the teacher says, but what do you see when you're working with them? Because that's important, because parents should work with their children daily, and they should be able to tell you what their child needs from their standpoint, not just the teachers.
So what I hear you saying is, do you ever, you feel like like a barber or a bartender, um you hear, not only are you providing a service
Hmm.
as far as, tutoring and mentoring and all that, but what I hear you saying is that sometimes you have to get past certain mental obstacles before you
Yeah,
can actually get to um the meat of what you're actually trying to do.
absolutely. Yes.
um so what you're saying is, it's not always educational. It's like, it's
No.
not always a deficit, educationally. It's sometimes they're dealing with uh
Yes.
you know
Some mental.
psychological things.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So
Definitely.
can you kind of like, without being too specific, can you kind of like expound on that?
Well, what I would say is when you work with the child, you're in tune with them.
Hmm.
You can tell when they're just frustrated or if it's something more than frustration. You have to really be in tune and also not allow your frustration to cause that child to shut down.
Mm,
So you have to not just look at it as like, okay, this is just another child I'm a tutor. You have to
right.
also be able to zoom in to that child and see what their needs are. And you could tell when a child is going through something. You could tell when it's just, lack of, or is it really something more? You just have to really zoom in to the child and really pay attention to when they have those meltdowns, when they say they don't understand, when they shut down. You have to be in tune with that as well.
So that must be, for you, that must be emotionally taxing at certain points. Do you feel like you have been able to master the art of not taking your work home with you? Like, is it hard for you to take off that hat and lay aside, the concerns of the day, or maybe that kid that was kind of difficult today, or whatever? Like, do you feel like you've mastered the art of trying to, of actually separating between what you
No,
do and who you are?
no, I have not. Because I think for me, well, not I think, I know for me, every child that I come in contact with is my child.
Mm,
I don't look
Wow.
at them as just another customer. They are my child. So it's hard to separate the two.
Wow. So how do you, I mean, how do you navigate it? Like, what do you do? Like, what are some of the things that, what are your, some of your coping mechanisms? What do you do?
Honestly, pray,
Mm,
pray. I pray all the time just for God to keep not just my mind, but the children that I work with. Because a lot of these kids, believe it or not, when they come to me, I'm more than just a tutor.
hmm.
I'm a counselor, I'm a mentor, so that's why it's hard to take off that hat because a lot of kids confide in me, more than they confide in their own parents,
Right.
so it's hard to shut it on and shut it off, especially when it's children.
Right. Right. So I'm not sure if do you have children of your own?
No, I don't.
Okay. So just doing what you're doing, do you feel like just in general you're more in tune with children? Do you feel like you have gained the superpower to be like the kid whisperer or what or what have you, just on a regular basis?
And I think honestly, that's why I am the way I am with children because I don't have any of my own,
Hmm.
honestly. And I think that's why every child that I come in contact with, good, bad, whatever, I just latch to them. And even children who I have taught in the past, I still have connections with them at their 25, 30 years old now. And I taught them when they were 10, 11.
Right.
So it's just that a true educator is more than just being a teacher.
Hmm.
These children become your children, not just a student in your class. So it's just the heart of a teacher. And I think I know I got that from when I was in school. I
Hmm.
still know the teacher who to this day influenced me to want to be a teacher.
Wow. Speaking of, I was going to ask, at this point in your career, who would you say is your greatest influence?
My greatest influence is my parents. They really instilled in me the importance of education. And I had a principal when I was in high school, Mary Ellen Andrews. She was the one who honestly got me a personal tutor. And that's how I even picked up this love of tutoring because she took me into her home and paid for a tutor for me who worked with me one on one because I had a test that I had to pass to graduate.
Wow.
So that's how I even came up with the whole tutoring piece. It's from her. And that was over 30 years ago.
Wow.
So you always
Um,
have that educator that sticks with you.
Absolutely. Yeah, as you should. You
Yeah.
should.
Yeah.
You should. Um, and this might sound like a funny question to you, but is there a stigma attached to being a tutor? Like, you know what I'm saying? Do you feel like kids are standoffish at first because when you have a tutor, then that means that there's something that you may not be catching on to, and
Absolutely.
or whatever. So
Yeah.
is that something that you find yourself having to overcome before you can even get to you know
Hmm.
the helping part, the
Right.
whole stigma of having to have a tutor or having a tutor?
Absolutely. And what I do, I start at the age of 3.
Mm,
So what I told the parents is the first session, come in, we introduce, we meet, you go ahead and go and come back in an hour. That's how I build a relationship with the child. If the parent is there, then the child is either going to be, A, scared,
hmm.
B, they're not going to be themselves,
Right.
So I and my sessions are closed, which means no parents can stay.
Right. Wow. Wow. What do you feel like you would be doing if you weren't doing this?
Honestly, I really don't know because I've always had a love for teaching.
So there was so what I hear you saying is that there was never a plan B.
Never. Nope.
Wow. That's amazing.
I always knew I wanted to be a teacher or a guidance counselor. Either one. Either one.
That is amazing. What would you say is the most common misconception that people have about you?
Um, that I mean,
And why would they think that?
because a lot of people tell me my demeanor. I'm
Hmm.
from New York,
Yeah.
so you
Me too.
know, it's just that it's just that stereotype. But I'm just as soft as a pillow. I really
Absolutely.
am. But people see me, oh yeah, she mean. Even parents, like when I was teaching in public school, oh she's mean. No, I'm not mean. I just need you to know what I'm saying is serious.
Right. So so what's the biggest difference between this and public school, teaching in public school?
A lot. Um, So I have blessed tutoring service, but I also have blessed Christian homeschool. I have
Mhm.
two different things. And so in my homeschool, it's homeschool. I just provide a safe space for the kids to come, just like a school day, smaller setting, and we provide instruction for them. In
Mhm.
a smaller setting, no class has over 14 kids. So we're able to work with the children on their levels,
Mhm.
and also build that confidence as well. As with public schools, it could be 30 kids in the classroom with one teacher.
Right.
We have two teachers in each class. And I did that so if there is a child that is not on grade level, instead of retaining them, let's put them in a small group and work with them one on one to see if that'll help before we
Mhm.
talk about retention.
Oh, that's actually very very clever. That's
Mhm.
very clever. Um, Overall, what is your from the outside looking in now? What is your overall um, opinion of education in the United States, or I'll bring it even closer to home, Virginia. Like, what is your overall opinion of education in Virginia? Do you feel like it's being um, done in the right way? Do you feel like kids are being taught the way that they, in a responsible and effective way?
Well, what I will say is, I feel
Hmm.
since COVID, we have not been able to get back on track
Hmm.
because when you think about COVID, we shut down in the middle of the year. Then we did virtual, which a lot of parents really couldn't be hands on because they had to work,
Right.
which meant that children fell behind.
Right.
Then we started school again and we started them like they finished previously and they didn't.
Right.
So you say no child left behind, but they actually were left behind because
Mm.
when we shut down, we put them on a computer to finish out the year.
Right.
Then that next year, it was completely virtual. Parents could not sit with their child and do virtual. So what
Hmm.
happens? The child doesn't understand and they fall behind. But then the next year we open back up and we pass them and they missed basically two prior grades. So they're already left behind.
Wow. So what would you suggest? What would you have suggested to bridge the gap? Do you
I
leave the kids?
personally
Do
would have
you,
suggested to start them where we stopped them
wow. Wow.
because they missed a whole year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
So a child that will say kindergarten shut down.
Mm-hmm.
Then you do virtual first grade. They missed the basic skills from kindergarten. Then we open back up second grade. They've missed first grade and the second half of kindergarten. How are they going to succeed in second grade? And they missed first grade and half of kindergarten. They can't. Those are the basic fundamentals. Pre-K, kindergarten, that's your foundation. If they don't get it there, when they get the first, second, and third grade, they're already behind.
Mm. I guess you're right about that. I guess you're right about that. Yeah, I mean, I think that it's a very sensitive, especially when we talk about kids who may be developmentally, um, behind to begin with. You know what I
Right.
mean? So now you're
Right.
setting them even more, even more behind. What are your thoughts on AI, Chat GPT, the whole thing? Is that an impediment to you in what you do, or is it a tool? Is it a good tool for you, or is it a what are your feelings on
Now, I'll say this. I also tutor high school kids, okay?
it? Mm-hmm.
And they have to write. So when they come to me, parents like, yeah, can you please look over? They had to write an essay. Can you please? And I'm looking, I'm like, so did you write this? And be honest with me.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Sheba, I got some stuff off of Chat GPT. I say, yeah, I can tell by just the way it's worded. A
Right.
lot of kids write like they talk,
Right. Right.
with the slang, and you give
Mm-hmm.
me a paper and it's all these big words. I'm like, you know what this word means? No, not really. Right. So we're giving them this tool and it's not helping them because they're taking it and they're copying and pasting identical, not switching nothing.
Right.
So what happens when you have to go write an essay on an application? You can't have your phone out.
Mm-hmm.
So then what? And I always give them real life situations like, so what happens if you did this in college? You know what's going to happen to you? They're going to put you out.
Right.
I said professors have tools where they can see if it's forged, if it's I give, especially my high school kids, I have to because if not, they were turning the paper straight from Chat GBT. They didn't get a zero. I don't know why I got a zero, Miss Casheba. I can tell you why.
Yeah.
And in their mind, they got to get this and see, and they're procrastinators.
Yeah.
So they can have a paper due and they know about it weeks in advance. But right before that semester end, hey, Miss Casheba, I got this paper to do. It's due Friday and we on Tuesday.
Mm.
So it's one of those things where it can be helpful if it's used the right way. But our kids, they're gonna copy and paste every word. And so it's really not helping them.
Yeah. Yeah. I I must admit, in a pinch, I have consulted, Chat GPT from time to time, but
Yeah.
I feel like I'm cheating if I
Mhm.
if I totally if I depend on it too much. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So I get it. I
And
understand.
then the thing is, like when I have a student that has used it, I don't beat them down.
Right.
I
Right.
say, okay, so let's put this in our own word. Let's take this one sentence, let's put it in our own words. See, you did it. So
Oh,
I use it like, okay, you used it. Now let's revamp it in your own words. You may
mhm.
not have the big words, but still, you could say what you need to say and mean the same exact thing.
Right.
So if they use it, I don't. You shouldn't have done. No, because like you said, even I sometimes will consult if I have certain things to do. So I'm not going to beat you up with something that I may use as well.
Right. Right.
So definitely, especially our older kids. Listen, they think that's the best thing since sliced bread. I ain't gotta type no
Yeah.
paper. What? Mm-mm.
Yeah. That's that is definitely that is definitely something.
But and one thing about it, they'll tell me, man, Miss Casheba, yeah, I used it. I said, okay, thank you, but we're gonna sit down and revamp this paper so it
Right.
sounds like you, not a
Right.
computer. You
Right.
got all these. What does this word mean? Oh, I don't know. My point exactly.
Mm. when this is kind of a nuanced question. Um, when you go about doing your daily business and fulfilling the mission of the goals and the missions of your movement, are you aware that you're a woman of color doing this? Like, how aware are you consciously? How consciously aware are you when you go about doing this,
Hmm.
that you're a woman of color? Does that matter? Or yeah, does that matter?
I
Do
would
you
say
feel?
yes and no. I would say yes because you have big name chains,
Hmm.
Sylvan Learning Center, Kumon. These are franchises that are not ran by people of color.
Hmm.
So to answer that question, yes, I always keep that in the back of my mind. That I'm doing this for our children. I'm providing
Hmm.
a service that's going to help our children and also to make it cost effective for our children.
Hmm. Do you feel like that's a do you feel like at times it's been a an obstacle for you, as far as trying to get things done? Do you feel like in this space, in this industry, um, do you feel like do you ever feel like that's been held against you?
Honestly, no,
Mm.
especially for the area that I really service. I'm in Portsmouth,
Hmm.
so it really not for me.
Okay. Okay. When you think about the industry that you've in, and like you said, you've been 20 years plus, 20 plus.
Hmm.
Um, is there opening for collaboration? And if there is, then with who? Like, how do you how have you been able to have the longevity that you've had? Who do you feel has contributed or invested um, the most in your movement? And I'm not just speaking about monetarily, like money, but I'm
Hmm.
saying, like, who do you feel has consistently um, poured into what you've done, what you're doing?
I have, well, first of all, I would have to say my media guy, my media person, Michael Thompson. He is the driving force
Hmm.
behind me as far as advertisement, graphics, website. He's the guy who really, really pushed me to do more social media.
Okay.
He's the driving force, and my assistant director, Mr. Devon Mickey, he's another person.
Oh, I
And I
know him.
have about three or four women who also do what I do. Miss
Hmm.
Sharice Harper at Bright Dreams Learning Center. She is, I call her the GOAT. I can ask her something and she's going to give it to me immediately. Mrs. Sylvia Sessoms, another person. You have to have two or three people that you can call and say, hey, they're asking for this. I don't know where to go. I don't know how to find it. Can you help me? And they'll do it, no questions asked. no competition, none of that. So it's hard to find people, honestly, that will collaborate with you without feeling that it's some type of competition.
Right.
It's really hard, but I'm blessed to have three or four in my corner that if I call any of them, they're going to assist me. And it's vice versa. They call me, I know what to do, let's do it. But my I feel like the best advertisement tool is word of mouth.
Mm-hmm.
You get you 4 or 5 good parents that can
Mm-hmm.
put what you do out there, because people are going to go off of what experience.
Right. Right.
I went to Miss Cannon and my son couldn't read, and by 3 months later, he was reading. They're
Mm.
going to go with because someone else received the services and they see the outcome.
Okay. Okay. Um, let's kind of shift gears a little bit.
Okay.
Let's talk about Dr. Casheba Cannon, the person, the woman, the
Mm-hmm.
person. Um, what do you do? What are some of your interests outside of this great movement? What are some things that you do to kind of like take your mind off things or relax?
I'm a traveler.
Okay.
I'm from Syracuse, New York.
Hmm.
So I love to travel. All my family is in New York.
Yeah.
So I love to travel. I'm a shopper. My self-care is important. That's important. Hair, nails, that's important. You have to find that time to just unwind, because if not, you're constantly moving and you're actually forgetting about yourself.
Right.
So self-care, awareness, your self checks, because a lot of times as entrepreneurs, we're so busy helping everybody else that we forget ourselves.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Your physicals, things like that, because we're so busy, you forget about your health, your care,
Hmm.
so that's important. What else do I like to do? I love live entertainment. I love going to concerts.
Hmm.
I love just enjoying my friends, my family. So that's what makes up Casheba.
You talked about you touched briefly on self-care. Um, why is self-care important to you?
Self-care is important to me because it's me.
Mm.
It's me. I am in the public's eye
Hmm.
all the time,
Right.
meeting parents. And I also feel self-care is important because my students look up to me.
Hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? If I come in there with my hair sticking up on my head, they're gonna look at me like, what,
Right.
you know, what can you tell me? And you don't look halfway decent yourself. And I learned that working in public schools.
Hmm.
Like kids will always say, Miss Cannon, even to this day, Miss Cannon, you still keep your nails done. I'm like, what? Yeah, because now I'm teaching my former students' kids. So they
Okay.
like, you still the same. Like, you still keep your hair done, you still keep your nails done. So this is stuff that they remember when I taught them. And that makes me feel good, because we are, as educators, we are role models, we are mentors. So if we're going to be role models and mentors, we need to carry ourselves that way at all times.
That's, that's right. You and I was gonna say, how do you feel when somebody's the next generation of somebody that you've influenced, comes into your classroom? Like, do you feel
I could
at
tell
some
you right now, I have 4 of my former students' children that either I'm teaching or I'm tutoring. And they say, Miss Cannon, you haven't changed a bit. So that lets me know that they watched me
right?
when they were my student. Oh, Miss Cannon don't play. So I live for those moments. I really, really do, because that lets me know, like I told you, my fourth grade teacher was my inspiration.
Hmm.
So to know that I'm an inspiration to my former students, that makes me feel good.
And they trust you,
And they trust me. Yeah, they bring, now I have their children.
right? That is amazing. You know that they and for me personally, trust is a big
Yeah,
thing. Even
absolutely.
some people might say because I'm a man that men are really big on being on trust and loyalty,
Hmm.
but I really trust is a really big thing for me
Yes,
because if I trust you, you know what I'm saying, you can pretty much get anything that I have. You
exactly.
know what I'm saying? But
Hmm.
if you lose my trust,
That's it.
it's
It's hard to get it back.
yeah, if at all, you know what
Yeah,
I mean? Like it's very
absolutely.
yeah.
And
So
that's the one thing that I tell any child that I work with. Don't lie to me. Tell
hmm
me the truth. Deal with the consequence. If there will be a consequence, I may say, you know what, you told me, so just don't do it again.
right.
But that's something that I instill with every child that I work with.
Hmm.
Trust. Be
Yeah,
honest.
that is an amazing thing. And I think I told you, but I'm from Rochester, New York. So
Yep.
we kind of like neighbors. So
Upstate.
so
Yeah.
I got you. I got you. So I definitely understand. I understand the vibe.
Yeah.
Um being in Virginia, like
Completely different.
I was gonna ask you, like,
Mhm.
do you feel what's it like coming from there from Syracuse to Virginia and then ending up staying here, you know what I mean, like,
Mhm.
and doing such important work? Why not go back to Syracuse?
Well, when I lived in Syracuse, I lived in the suburbs
Okay.
for Syracuse. Now we didn't start in the suburbs. We started in the project, Marbury
Yeah.
Square, you
Yeah.
know, and then we ended up moving to the suburbs. And when I lived in the projects, I felt like my teachers, they weren't in tune with me at
Hmm.
all. When I moved to the suburbs, that's when I had the teachers who I felt appearance wise, top notch. You know, they were the ones who stayed after school. They were the ones who called the parents. It was a total different era for me. So
Hmm.
I knew once I graduated high school, I was leaving.
Wow.
Everybody asked me, well, why didn't you go to Syracuse University? Mm-mm.
Mhm.
Now, I knew that I wanted to leave Syracuse.
Yeah.
It wasn't, and the one thing about it, my parents pushed me to leave.
Yeah.
They were like, yeah, get out of Syracuse, try, out of New York State, period, which I was shocked because I'm a daddy's girl. So I was
Right.
shocked when he was like, get out of Syracuse, get out of New York State, go. And, I came to Virginia. I was supposed to go to Florida A&M, and
Mm.
Florida A&M sent me my letter late, and my parents had already paid their deposits. No, you going to Norfolk State. And I had family because that's where my
Yeah.
mom and dad were from, Florida and Georgia. So I was like,
Okay.
they don't let me go to Florida. Mm-mm. They paid them deposit. Oh, you going to Norfolk State? I was like,
Mm.
okay. So came to Norfolk State, and I didn't even want to go home for breaks.
Wow. Wow.
I didn't like summer break. I was like, man, I gotta go back home. And then I met here, that became family. So then I
Right.
didn't have to go home for the summers.
Right.
So it was one of those things that when I left, I was glad I left. Now, is there a difference? Absolutely. Like we didn't have to pay to have a car in New York.
Yeah.
We didn't pay property tax. I was
Right.
like, we got to pay to have a car? Mm-mm. You know, and
Yeah.
then I'm gonna go buy my car from New York. Then I'm like, I gotta go. Mm-mm. So then after I stopped doing that, it's like, okay, the difference. So there's a lot of things that are different here than New York. The price of living is different. Just different things like property tax. Like, what is that? Didn't know about that until, I got my car here and had to learn about all of that. So there was a big, big difference from Syracuse to Virginia.
You brought up a good. You kind of sparked the question in me now. So economically, you know, I'm sure that you deal with kids that are what some might consider um, what do you call it, less fortunate,
Yes.
or so. I know that you're attacking it from an educational standpoint, and I know
Mm-hmm.
that you are mentoring and helping them in a way that to grow from an
Mm-hmm.
educational level.
Mm-hmm.
But do you ever find yourself um, pushing to fight for the other things that play into some of the educational deficits, like economic disadvantage, like some coming
Absolutely.
from certain
Yes.
areas or whatever? Is there things that you put in place to kind of like mitigate that?
Yes. Yes. Yes, I do. Like I'll use the school for example. Um, if there's more than one child, that comes to register for the school, I'll say this to you: no child is turned away.
Okay.
No family is turned away. I'll figure it out.
Wow.
There's no child that has ever came or a family that has come to me to try to get help that I've turned away. Never. I'm going to work something out, even if it's on the back end. And I'm blessed to have people who will donate, sponsorships. So there's no child that I turn away.
So if you could have it your way tomorrow, what would blessed tutoring service be? What would it be at its peak? If you could have it your way tomorrow, what would it actually be? Would it
To
be
have
would it
to have multiple chains.
just in Virginia or all over the country or?
I would start right here in Hampton Roads first.
Mhm,
And then I really want to expand like upstate New York, like Syracuse.
mhm.
That's a goal of mine.
Okay. Okay. So this is actually my last official question of the night. It's a question that I ask all my guests, and I want to take a moment. Once I ask it, I want you to just take a moment and think about it. Just give me the most honest and transparent answer that you can give me. And here's the question: what would have to happen in your life, if it hasn't happened already, for you to consider your life a success? What does success look like for you specifically?
What does it look like to me?
Yeah, what would success be like for? What would you consider success for yourself?
To be able to open several locations.
Mm, okay, okay.
That
Short
that 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 right there.
and short and sweet. Okay,
Yep.
okay. If somebody wanted to get in touch with you, like maybe if they have a child that they want to enroll, or maybe they just have a question in general,
Mhm.
and or maybe something that you said, you know, they want to they may have questions about, how can they get in touch with you?
Casheba Cannon right here on Facebook. They can contact you.
Mhm.
www.blessedtutoringservices.com as well.
Awesome. Okay. Is do you have anything? Is there anything coming up? Do you have any events lined up or anything
Yes.
that you?
Yes, we have a summer program that we have starting in June and it is an academic and recreational camp. So they're in class in the morning, then they have the field trips in the afternoons. And the
Mm,
reason why I started this the year that COVID started, not knowing that COVID was going to hit.
right.
And it has really been a blessing to the community because these children are basically in school year round. Because in my summer program, they're in class in the morning. Then we have the fun stuff in the afternoons. But it also helps bridge the gap in the academic challenges because we are able to review those, remediate, and get the kids where they need to be for the upcoming school year. So we have that coming up in June, and I also have an SOL boot camp. And this boot camp is to get the children ready for their end of the year assessments.
Okay. Wow. So do they have to live in a certain area or
No, I service the 7 cities.
okay. I'm trying to. I don't want to miss anything. Um, I think that's it. But I still feel like we scratched the surface. But I want to be respectful of your time. I want to thank you for coming on to the
Thank you for the
platform.
invite. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. I want to extend to you an open invitation. You can, if there's something that you want to talk about, if there's
Okay,
something that you're planning on doing or whatever, please let us know, and
definitely.
we'll come back on and we'll talk about it, and we'll
Yeah.
expose it, and we'll promote it, and we'll do
Okay.
whatever we have to do to get the people to see
Yes, sir.
what you got going.
And the same thing for you. If you need anything, anything at all, please reach out.
Absolutely.
Please
I
reach out.
appreciate. I definitely appreciate that. You have an amazing night and an amazing weekend, and I
Thank
wish you much blessings on everything that you have going on and everything
you.
that you haven't done yet. I
I
wish you
appreciate
blessings
that.
on
Thank you so much.
that. Absolutely. There you go, everybody. Another amazing interview with another amazing guest. Shout out to Dr. Casheba Cannon. Please check out her Movement Blessed tutoring service. Um, she's doing a great work in the Hampton Roads community here in Virginia. But just because even if you don't live in the area, that doesn't mean that you can't impact her movement. If you want to sow, if you want to, invest, if you want to send over some resource or whatever, you know what I mean? Please reach out to her and set that up because she is truly doing an amazing work, an impactful work. And that's what this platform is geared towards highlighting, highlighting men and women who impact culture and community by way of their God-given gifts, as well as the gifts, as well as the products and services that they provide. I can't even talk today. Um, so please let us not take for granted, people like her that are giving of themselves to um, impact our youth, who in turn impact our future. The more educated we are, the more um, educationally suited we are, the more prepared we are, the more options we have, the more resources we have, the more things that we can do, you know, um, for our communities, and not just for our communities, but just for the country, for the world. You know what I mean? It's a very it's a very heavy and deep um, project. It's definitely something that I definitely take my hat off to. I definitely can respect that because I know that it takes a certain level of love and patience and grace that some of us are still challenged with, but we're growing. Um, but with that being said, guys, I thank you for coming on, and I thank the people that are going to watch the playback later on in advance. Thank you for coming on and watching and chiming in. I truly appreciate it. We truly appreciate it. Um, with that being said, I'm going to let y'all go. Y'all have a great night and a great weekend. I'll be on here tomorrow too. So Look out. All right. Let's take a walk.